Cheers. So what is being expressed is this wide openness, the obviousness that there is no two, the obviousness that there is not another. But that's just another idea of something that cannot be put into words, something that is completely ineffable. In this wild directness, there's just this silence that seems to appear as words, these empty words, not trying to land anywhere or on anything at all. It's just what is. One of the most questions that often comes up is, this non-duality can offer any help. So this is just a suggestion. Non-duality in its essence cannot really offer any assistance to the individual self. Its realm lies beyond the confines of personal narrative. Simply cannot help anyone. However, within the realm of our stories, assistance for the apparent self can be sought and found. Not in non-duality, though. Non-duality does not offer kind of any reprieve or any kind of release for the individual. Non-duality holds no solutions or solace for the individual self, since it's imaginary. Yet this does not preclude seeking help elsewhere for solace and improvement of one's state. At times, this character finds, itself in a great compassion, while at other times, this character observes life unfolding like an impassive audience watching a drama. Human compassion, in its myriad expressions, is undeniably beautiful. Suffering emerges, and the response follows suit. Some delve into non-duality only to convert it into some sort of dogmatic belief system, claiming that there's no need for a response since there is no individual. Again, this is not really a response to anyone. So this notion, in truth, constitutes another form of seeking. A response precedes thought. There's no room for the notion of absence of suffering to negate the immediacy of compassionate action. In moments of tragedy, the raw reality of suffering can be profoundly distressing. This character abhors the injustices that's seemingly happening in the world, yet even this aversion is a facet of the unfolding isness. This, in essence, is freedom, the liberty to empathize within the pain of another being. It is not a construct of a seeking self, but the spontaneous reaction of the so-called human organism. To deny the reality of this response under the guise of non-dual ideology is simply disingenuous. There is indeed a distinction between tragedy and joy, yet both are facets of the unfolding isness. Unconditional freedom lies not in detachment from experience, but in embracing it fully, including the capacity for pain and compassion towards others. Imagine witnessing someone stumble on the street, or witnessing an elderly needing some help. Would there be a detached indifference, dismissing the event because there simply is no one? Such detachments reflects not liberation, but rather an entrapment of the idea that there's no self, a mere illusion of separateness. Just another thing. Unconditional freedom lies in allowing natural response to arise. One might walk away, one might help. It's the same thing. No one's really choosing anything to do anything, but yet helping happens or not. Just because someone wants to help another does not mean that there's a person there. It's just a natural reaction of something that seemingly occurs. Again, unconditional freedom is just anything that seems to appear. It could be a natural response to arise. in feeling compassion without any constraint. It is simplicity inherent in being present with what is. The apparent illusory individual self is insequential in the face of unfolding isness. Suffering emerges and the response follows naturally. Without the mediation of the apparent me, whether witnessing cruelty towards an animal or facing imminent danger, the response is immediate and instinctual. It's just what is. So unconditional freedom is found in the wonder of existence in itself, embracing the full spectrum of human experiences with open arms. It does not mean when one loses a self or a me that there's no more compassion or the ability to help others. Seemingly for this character, there's more of an immediate response, a wild openness, an unfolding of this authenticity to be there for others, although there's no one here. It's contradictory, but it's just what happens. It's not putting someone in a box because there's no me that it does not have any compassion or any kind of nobility. It's just what is. It's just seemingly what happens. It's not this coldness that seemingly appears when there's, a losing of the identity or a sense of a me. It's actually the authenticity of that character to help or not. It's just what is. So putting this idea of losing or dropping away into a box is just another understanding. It's just another belief system. So I guess what's being expressed here is it is what it is, whatever it is, including compassion. One might ask, who is it compassionate for? Compassion arises, helping arises. Just because there is a character that wants to help does not mean that there is a sense of me. And who cares really? It's just what happens. So what's being expressed here is just the obviousness that even if there is no one, because there's never been anyone in the first place, that's the thing, that's the clincher. It doesn't have to change to be a lack of compassion, a lack of kindness, a lack of authenticity, because it is what it is already. Before or after the dropping away of the me, it already is without a me. The seeming dropping of the me is just a construct, an idea, an experience, so to speak, but there's no experiencer. So all of these conversations will keep on running into contradictions because the very language that's being used here, being utilized, always ends up in a quagmire, in a bit of a delusion. The language that we use is very delusional in what seems to be happening. What seems to be happening is just a natural isness appearing as it, always it, no matter what it is. If you have any questions, please go ahead. And thank you. I had this conversation earlier with someone and basically kept on saying that, well, you can't really help or anything because you know what, there's no one to help. I'm like, who says that? There's nothing that can be done in non-duality because non-duality is just an expression. But people tend to forget that there is still an individual appearing. There's still drama that appears, but yet there's no one to help. So it's quite confusing, but it's not really. So if you have any questions, please go ahead. Hello, everyone. Sorry about my camera. I don't know how to adjust it yet, so it looks red. Hello, Khalil.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
You guys can hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm
I can't
doing
see you
good,
though.
thanks. Yeah, I have no camera at the
No
moment, but
worries. Are you Khalil from
yeah.
Tunisia?
Yep,
Yeah.
that would be me. Yeah.
Hello, Tunisia. Khalil from Tunisia.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how is it going?
Oh, excellent.
Okay, thank you for hosting this meeting,
Of course.
Emerson. Yeah. So my question would be, uh, in this seeming experience, like there has been this act of seeking for the
Yeah.
last few years.
Mhm.
Uh, I can say that it's been kind of dropping in the last period, and yet it feels like I'm always still drawn into something, even though I don't really do anything about it. So my question here is that something that I should do anything about, or do I just let the seeking naturally dissipate or continue?
Well, doing something or not doing something is just another idea that there's something that can be done about something that is just happening, right? So seeking happens for no reason at all. And thinking that you can drop the seeking is just another form of seeking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking that, thinking that there's something that can, alleviate it, or something that you can do or not do about it, is just another thinking about it. So going really, really directly at this, apparent isness, this apparent nowness, is there anyone seeking at all?
Like looking into direct
Yeah, just
experience.
direct, just not even an experience, because experience, we'll try to, you'll try to attach to it.
Yeah, I honestly cannot answer this question
Yeah.
without going to thought.
Yes.
So yeah,
So without the
I
thought,
have to
let's go.
resort to the past or the future to answer
Yeah.
it, you
So
know.
without the past or the future or the thought, is there any situations at all?
Uh, well, I don't think so. No, I mean,
Yeah.
there is something prior to me thinking about stuff,
But
but
isn't it just a thought though?
yeah, I guess that's also a thought.
So in this wide open directness again, right? Without a two, with words just coming seemingly in and out and everything, right? Isn't this perfection
Yeah,
already?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like everything is the way it is until
Yeah.
I start thinking about it, or
Exactly. But you
something like
can't,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you can't, but you can't help that, right? It's like thoughts will happen and everything, but the obviousness is that, without any kind of ideas or thoughts or any ideologies and everything already is. So even if thoughts come in and out, right, that's also it.
yeah, yeah. But it feels like thought can be somewhat hypnotizing at times, but yeah,
It
I guess
does.
that's
Yeah.
also it. I'm
That's
not
also
sure.
it. Yeah. There are really no thoughts if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, looking directly into it, they seem to dissipate, but I'm not really sure how this is going on.
Yeah. Things seemingly come and go, right? There's going to be thoughts, there's going to be sensation, feelings, but everything passes. But there's always this immediacy that I'm talking about that cannot really be a movement. It does not have any second. It cannot be contained as a thought. It cannot be held. It cannot be grasped. It cannot be known. Yet it's always seemingly present. So when the seeming focus is on the thoughts that come and go, that will just, as you said, it goes to the past and the future, then what's being overlooked is that immediacy, that stillness that cannot be denied, no matter if you try to deny it. And that immediacy and that directness is just the what is that cannot be known. It's just seemingly overlooked over and over again.
So in this context, even tendencies to grasp
Yeah.
that immediacy,
Mhm.
that is also it,
That's
right?
also it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's never not it. Never not. It is
yeah.
always it, right? So it's the thing is, it seems like, there's a chasing of something, but what's chasing it is also it. The one that's trying to grasp it is also it. The trying to get it is also it. It's always it, no matter what it is, right? So trying to understand it, trying to know it, trying to figure it out is it. But seemingly the illusion of trying to figure it out or trying to grasp it always tends to look for the next, always tends to look for the next moment, so to speak, the next phenomena, the next, glimpse and everything. So it keeps on seemingly missing what is glaringly, obviously, directly it by making up imaginary it's. But even imaginary it is it. Again, so there's nothing that's not it, it's always it.
Yeah, but like from the story's standpoint,
Yeah,
like from the individual standpoint, if you will,
yeah.
is that really anything that can be done in this context? Because it feels a bit, yeah, like it feels like there's really not much to be done here, but I'm not sure.
Doing or not doing is it. Because there's really no individual. See, that's the fallacy, is that when you think that there's the individual that can do it, it goes in a wild chase. It becomes a witness, an observer, an awareness of something that does not need a two. And it creates ideas of what it should be by overlooking the original, imaginary idea that I am doing it. I will get this. So it does not really make sense, you know what I'm saying, for the apparent individual if it's an illusion to chase another illusion, because the illusion will just produce more illusion. The dream will come up with more dreams. The mirage will just be functioning in a mirage, right? Do you see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the focus on the movement, the focus on what's coming and going seems to hide or seems to obscure what is being sought for by being, thinking that it can do something about it. So it becomes this wild chase of something that's already it.
Thank you, Emerson, and
Thank you,
sorry for
Khalil.
taking a bit long, guys.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. And we'll talk soon on that one-on-one that we'll have. I just have to respond to that email. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Sure thing. Thank you.
Yeah, and keep on coming back. No worries at all.
Okay.
Hello, Michelle. No questions. Yeah, no worries. I love that introduction, Emerson, because at one point I thought that non-duality eradicates the humanity of the character. Thank you so much. Can you expand more on, why it is not about eradicating the human identity? Um, because the human identity and the human compassion is also it. It's not about being a robot. It's not about an idea of when there's no me, then there's just this seeming um empty, uh vacant individual. There's no more neurosis for that individual. There's no more a sense of a me or a separate. So wouldn't it make sense to have more compassion when there is no separation anymore? Because it does not see another. So if someone hurts, then it can be compassionate for that hurt, for that suffering. There's just more authenticity that seems to unfold for the character, because it's not trying to be not a character, not trying to be something any other than what it is. It is already perfection as it is. It's already it. So if compassion arises, then that's it. Even if coldness arises, that's also it. So if the character is cold, then it's cold. So it's not about changing, kind of like what they say, chop wood, carry water after chop wood, carry water, right? It's just what it is. But seemingly for this character, there's just been more seeming compassion that seems to arise out of nowhere, right? It's not denied, or it's not seen as a character of a me or something. It's just what is. They're seeming getting caught up with the idea of there's no me, because it becomes this repetitious, there's no me, there's no me, there's no me, there's no me. If there's already no me, so what would it matter? When it becomes an ideology, when it becomes a belief system, then that seems to create this idea of what it should be. Thank you for that question. No, that's Khalil. Go ahead, please.
Hey,
Hello.
so there seemed to be some kind of resonance with specific things that are being said. So my question here is, I mean, I know as soon as I start saying it's a process, we're back into the same
Speak
circle, I
freely.
guess.
Speak freely. It's okay. It's all right. There's no
Okay.
non-duality police here. Please speak freely.
Yeah. Okay. 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 That sounds
Okay.
good.
All right.
Yeah. So, is it like something resonating and then something clicks and things are suddenly seen clearly, or I mean, how does this really unfold?
It doesn't really unfold. It seems like it's unfolding. So the questions are going to appear like trying to, it's from an absolute level, I'm saying it doesn't unfold. From the relative, level, it unfolds completely. So simultaneously, there's an unfolding and non-unfolding. But it's not about denying the relative to get to the absolute, right? Because the absolute and the relative are actually the same. So there's really no difference with unfolding or non-unfolding. Kind of like what I said, in this vast emptiness, there's something that never moves, but yet there's always movement. There is no duality, yet it appears dualistic. So we can't really put it into words or in any kind of comprehension, right? The seeming character will try to negotiate with the words that's being said here. But what really resonates is the silence that seems to appear in the words, in between words or whatever, right? Because it's just really the emptiness of it all, yet the fullness of life seemingly appearing. So it's the silence, it's the emptiness, and yet it's also the aliveness that seems to appear. So trying to figure out something that's already been figured out, not by you, not by anyone, can't be figured out by anyone, but it's already been figured out. It's already finished. It's already over. There's seemingly an unfolding, you know what I'm saying? So be it. That's also it.
Yeah. So it's like, it felt like I've definitely had a couple of glimpses here and there
Yeah.
of the way things are right before I start thinking about them. But I also notice some tendencies to chase those experiences and to try to reproduce them in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because rather than seeing this as already, the tendency is to overlook what's already and base it from a previous experience of what is already too. And then so it looks for the next experience of the glimpse. It looks for the next phenomena to happen. When what you're looking at is actually the very phenomena that you thought you saw or what you're looking for. It just looks very ordinary, but you're looking for the extraordinary, but the extraordinary and the ordinary is the same. So it's like, like you eating food, you know what I'm saying? Just walking along, watching this Zoom is the ordinary, but it's also extraordinary. This is not really happening, but yet it's happening. This is occurring, but this is pure stillness. These sounds are appearing, but it's actually complete silence. So it
Yeah,
does
that
not.
definitely resonated.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Keep on going. Yeah.
No, it's like the moment you said the ordinary is also not the ordinary. It's like, yeah, that actually
Yeah.
felt like it. Yeah.
So the extraordinary is looking for the extraordinary when it's already extraordinary. Even seemingly witnessing this at this very moment is very extraordinary. This can never be repeated. This will never happen again. This very moment is the infinite appearing in this finite appearance of time. Once it's over, it's over. But yet something new begins. And it can never be figured out. You know what I'm saying? You will never catch it because it's a perfect illusion. So there's this seeming movement, seeming appearances of, of this immediacy appearing as an idea, labeling it as, Emerson having a Zoom meeting and everything. I'm listening to it, but in the directness, in the absence of words, of thoughts, and all that kind of stuff, right? In that eternal pause, it's impossible. Yet it's possibly happening. There's really no time, yet this talking appears in time. There's really no space, yet this Zoom meeting is happening in space. There's really no you or I, but yet this seemingly appears as two individuals talking.
Yeah, I definitely feel like some kind of passion arising, like it's
Yeah.
almost mixed with a bit of laughter. And
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, so in a way, it's always fresh, right?
Yes, it is. It
Yeah.
is. We just think it's not. You know what I'm saying? But without thought, it's always, it's always, I can't even say it, right? So these words that ping pong back and forth, right? The sounds is seemingly coming from, emanating from this eternal emptiness that does not have a second, that does not have any source. And there's just this peace.
Yeah. Yeah, you really have a unique way of transmission, Emerson, because that really got straight into me and pointed me directly into this immediacy, right? Yeah, thank you.
It's my camera. It's so red. That's it's
Yeah,
radioactive.
that definitely helps.
I don't know how to control
Yeah,
the camera. I got a new camera and I don't know how to use it, right? So it's kind of like, oh, the meeting is starting soon. So it is what it is.
yeah.
But yeah, you know
Uh,
what? It has nothing to do with me as well, Khalil, to be honest with you, right? It might seem like, again, right? It might seem like, there's these words that are being said here. Um, but it's just really just empty. It's all empty. So when it's all empty, there's nothing that makes really sense. It doesn't have to make sense. So it's just very direct. That's what I keep on saying. It's very direct, right? Because the emptiness here is the emptiness everywhere. Not the emptiness as a religious idea or a spiritual idea, but the emptiness, just blankness here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to point something else out,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I'm
For
not
sure.
sure if anyone can relate, but it's like there has been feelings of grief arising lately. Yeah, it's like mixed with a bit of disappointment also. But yeah, I guess that's just uh,
Yeah,
what's arising.
that's a common
Yeah,
arising, basically, right? Of grieving what you
yeah,
thought you knew about this, right? Because in the story, there's just so many, fantastical ideas of what this should be. And there's so much stages and kind of pageantry about this, right? The illusion of enlightenment or awakening or whatever that makes it so inaccessible, but at the same time makes it so desirable. So when that what's being desired is in front of you always, when what's being longed for, it becomes a disappointment a little bit because it's you making the coffee in the morning, uh, getting grumpy when you don't have coffee in the morning.
yeah,
It's all of it, right? It's all of it. It's not this shining moment where where you're levitating 10 feet above the ground and blessing everyone.
yeah,
It's the simplicity of this delicious life, right? It's the simplicity of it. It's all the joy in it, all the sorrow in it, all the pain in it. It's all inclusive. Nothing is excluded whatsoever, right? So even if this is just a story, even if you look back, right, it's always been this way. Just your idea of what this should be is seems to what gets in the way. So when the
yeah,
ideas become completely irrelevant and attached to what seemingly appears, right? It's like a detachment from that ideas. Then the lens becomes a bit wider. It becomes a little bit
yeah,
brighter. It becomes a little bit clearer because it's not focused on trying to figure out what this is or looking for the carrot that's being dangled. Seeing that there's no carrot can be disappointing, but it's also
yeah,
liberating.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah,
isn't it liberating as well? That there's no next. It's just this.
yeah. In a way, it feels like uh, you don't have to be lifting as much weight as you thought you should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. And that's the immediacy that I'm talking about, right? It's just the lightness of being. It's just being here. No one here, but there's just being here. Even if you think that there's someone here, that's just part of it too. Who cares?
yeah.
Yeah. Or to be succinct, there's really just what is, whatever it is.
Yeah, so I've always had tendencies to conceptualize stuff,
Yeah.
like even growing up, that's what I always did. It's always doing labels, concepts, and figuring stuff out through thought, and that
But that's a part of it
that
too.
was the only way.
That's a
Yeah,
part of it too, you know?
but that's not what I thought it was. Yeah, I
It's never
guess.
what we think it is. Never.
Yeah,
So that's the thing, right? It can never be thought about, right? It's the more that we think about it, the more that we're chasing the thought, which is just another thought. It was just another illusion, right? So the illusion chasing an illusion just produces more illusion. When the illusion is
yeah.
not met, then it produces suffering, which is just another illusion. So to go kind of like just really razor sharp, kind of like at the edge of everything, which is just basically saying in the directness of everything, of all the knowledge, all the knowing and everything, there's just this zilch, nothing, nada, empty, blank, zero. Not as an idea, not as a concept, but basically no ideas. No comprehension, no understanding. It's just the awe of it. You kind of like the speechlessness of it. When I have a one-on-one, when it turns out good, there's usually just speechlessness at the end. It's like, huh?
Yeah, it's honestly something I can understand. Yeah.
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 Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm honestly like there are definitely intense feelings
Yeah.
like from within the chest area going on. Not sure what's going on there, but yeah, that's what seems to be rising right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it too. See,
yeah,
that's it too. Sometimes it's hard to swallow what's being said, that it already is, because the character seems to look for something in the next, right? But when it's being presented over and over again that this is it, you know, no matter what it is, this is it, even when this is not it. And then there's a
yeah.
resistance, and at the same time a relief. There's a grief, and there's liberation.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you, Khalil. Thank you. There's Corey, looking great and pretty in pink.
Hello. I've
Hello.
got Stephen with me here. Can you see him?
Oh, hi, Stephen. Oh, hi. Good to see you. You guys look great.
Thanks.
I'm going to put you guys up the screen just a second. Now I can see you.
Nice to meet you. You could be on the screen.
Hi.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Corey looks great. Wow.
Mother's Day here.
Oh, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, wow.
Well, I've got a visitor today.
That's right. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Hi, Stephen. We have to talk soon, Stephen, but I just wanted to say hi to you and to Corey, of course. How are you feeling? You feeling good?
Much better. Much
good.
better. I'm getting my energy back every day.
Great.
Yeah, I'm living on a few pills at the moment, but anyway.
That's what it is too, isn't it?
I know. I try not to.
Yeah. But you look great. You look great.
Yeah, doing really well, Emerson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Lovely to
Happy,
see you.
lovely to see you too, and happy Mother's Day. It's so good too.
Thank you.
I almost got my heart almost sank there. I'm like, Mother's Day. I remember that it's different there than here.
Oh,
ours is in May.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And of
Okay.
course, I haven't been able to see my mom because I've had a cold. So I don't want to get her sick, right? So
Of course not.
yeah.
No. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, she's got time to get better, so you can see her.
I'm feeling better already. You know what? I did a meeting on Friday, which I'm not sure if you get the emails for that. So it's a Friday and Sunday.
I haven't tried for the Friday. Is that the nobodies, isn't it? That's not
No,
you.
no. It's just me again. At 2:00, the same time. Yeah. So next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, okay.
No worries.
Lovely. Okay. What did you just say? Something you just said. I didn't catch what you said.
I can't remember.
Of course not.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Mhm.
I'm going to mute you, okay, Corey? Just a second. Oh, sorry, a couple of questions here. Hi, Emerson. Thank you so much for having this meeting. You said that there's no distinction between tragedy and joy. Yeah. In the experience of in the apparent illusory experience, of course, there's going to be difference. But what's being expressed are it's just both facets of this unfolding isness. It's the unfolding stillness. It's the moving, the dynamic stillness that seems to appear as joy or tragedy or whatever seems to appear. In getting caught up, for example, in joy, right, creates or a glimpse or something like that, creates an idea of what it should be. Or trying to get rid of sadness and everything, trying to get rid of tragedy, it's the same thing as holding on to something that just passes. So everything passes, but yet nothing ever moves, is what's being expressed here, right? So there's going to be ideas that seems to appear, feelings, sensations, appearances that comes and goes, but yet there's just this eternal emptiness, silence, whatever you might want to call it. I hate calling it words because it cannot really be captured in an idea, but it's something that never moves, but yet appears as movements. So it's not separate, really. Nothing is ever separate. Separation is just an idea. It's just a concept. So how do you recognize that? I know that question was coming. You don't have to. It is already. There's no you, but you are that stillness that's moving. Not as you as an idea, not as you as a concept, not as you as an experience, right? Because the moment that you think you have to experience it, the moment that it has something to do with you, then it creates this division, this illusory division, this sense that is of separation. It already is. For example, right, that there's this heart beating, the cells in your body moving, everything seemingly moving, but there's also this infiniteness that appears simultaneously with all of that: cells, body, blood pumping, eyes blinking, talking, that seemingly all of this movement emanates from, not as a source, right? Because that's easy to think of it as a sourceless source. Think of it as something that is unfigureoutable. It can never be figured out, because the moment that you think you figured it out, then it becomes an idea of a source. Then it will have a beginning. So try to fathom this. Try to think about beginning without an ending. You can't. Try to think simultaneously of beginnings and endings. You can't. It can't simply be thought about, but yet it's what it is. Scientifically, for example, there can be a science that there's no time, but yet to figure out that there's no time, time was used to figure that out. Or, with radical non-duality, there is an obviousness that there is no me, but yet a me has to fall away to see that. It's impossible. But the trick is not getting caught up in it. Because the moment that you think that there's no me, then it becomes another identity. The moment that you think that there's no time, that just becomes another construct. It cannot be figured out, right? It's just completely unknowable. And yet, even thinking that it's unknowable and that becomes your landing place, then it just becomes just another idea. So this never-ending swirling stillness, this never stopping eternity. Many people talk about the infinite as if they know it. No one knows what the infinite is, because thinking is finite. So it defeats the purpose of trying to figure out what the infinite is. And even if you go to the words of it, right? Like even if you look at the word infinite, eternal, they're all made up. They're all a construct, because every single word is made up. So the infiniteness that's being talked about here, full admission, is completely unknowable. It's not coming from a knowing. It's the sincerity that it just cannot be known, because it simply is already. I really loved your introduction, Emerson. Can you repeat some of that again? Because I only caught half of it. I don't remember what I talked about. To be honest. The title that I wrote basically is non-duality in its essence cannot really offer any assistance to the individual self. What I mean by that is that, if you are talking about just the directness, the isness, the unknowable, of course, it cannot offer any kind of help to the apparent individual, because in its realm lies the confines of a personal story. But in the story, assistance to another can appear, can be sought and found, basically, right? Meaning that, although there is simply no individual or no separation, an apparent individual in the story can help. It's kind of like what I'm saying is like meeting where someone's at. It's like being in the story, but not of the story. For example, when it's inspired basically with I'm doing this this work apparently with a lot of characters that are coming out of a seeming cult. And there's a lot of suffering there, right? There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of people that have lost everything, that have seemingly lost their, the meaning, everything that you could think of. One can't help to be compassionate to them. Like, for example, like I'm doing this pro bono work where I spend maybe 4 hours a day talking to some of these characters, right? And there's just so much love, so much compassion for those characters, right? Because they were completely devastated. All of their belief systems, they were looking for that carrot, that enlightenment. They thought that their guru had something. So it's very devastating to deliver the news over and over again that this is it, and they don't seem to can't seem to get out of that, thinking that there's got to be something that was said to them was true, even if the actions were completely horrific, right? So yeah. So just because there is simply no one, the tendency, what I'm saying, for the authenticity of this appearance is to also be compassionate and be helpful, because that's what seems to appear. It's not denying that, right? It's not denying the help and the care and compassion for others. It's just what's being expressed. I'll release the video soon, so I just can't remember what I talked about earlier. It's kind of like when someone's on the street and they need help, just because there's no one, you're going to pass by them. You're like, oh, there's simply no one there helping the character, you know what I'm saying, on the street. Also what happens, right? Or someone's hungry and they're asking you for some food. And if you have a lot of food, then you give them food, right? You're not going to say that there's no one here to help you. Or walking away from it, if that's what happens, this is what happens. But for this character, if I walk down the street and there's someone that's starving and there's an abundance here, you know what I'm saying? And of course, I actually love having meals. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's just what happens as well. It's not a denial, basically, of the apparent human experience. There's no one in the experience, but the experience still happens. So compassion is also it. And I can see the non-duality police kind of like saying that there's no one to help. That's what's being talked about here. So I called it already. Emerson, you seem to be very passionate about this. Where do you redirect that passion? I can imagine that this passion radiates to other aspects of the character story. Thank you. This passion is just the authenticity of the character, right? So I can't help my mom right now, but I love being with my mom. I like spending time with my brothers and my sister. I love art. Creating those thumbnails, playing piano, walking with my dog. Life is so full. It's so full and yet so empty. And I love talking about this for some odd reason. I don't know why. One of my favorite things about art is that it doesn't have to fit within the usual paradigm of things. It's in a way free. Yeah. When I was a kid, I think there was this kid as an artist, basically, that loves just creating things, right? Drawing, playing music, dancing, singing. And somewhere along the way, you lose that, because I was trained to be a professional by my dad, which is really, really good too, by the way. And but somehow when there was just the construct of Emerson fell apart, that neurosis of trying to be a professional or whatever, there's just this freedom here to be almost like childlike again. So what I did as a child, I'm doing now. Like, I just learned from my mom that I did poetry as a kid. So this is probably perhaps where the poetry is coming from in the story anyway, right? So for people that are coming in just now, I saw a couple of people. We started an hour ago. And you missed the most enlightening hour ever spoken. Just kidding.
Hello, Emerson.
Hello. Oh, there's Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hello. It's, I don't know. I was mid shaving and then my machine went out. So now it looks really weird. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like getting like, I don't know. The search for happiness or looking for better experiences or better, I always can't come up with anything whenever I'm at the meetings. I can't.
The search for happiness. You were saying.
Yeah, I mean, like
what about it?
We hope that if we get this, then we're gonna be better off, and then if we don't get it, then we're gonna be miserable as well. But it's like, I don't know.
What if you're investing in an idea? And without those ideas, it already is. Again, saying when we were talking, oftentimes is when you run off ideas, when you get gobsmacked, saying that there's nothing to do, then there's just instant happiness, isn't it? Yeah. And then the idea again, I'm like, how do I maintain this happiness? How will I get this again? Right. So what if it has nothing to do with you? If you're out of the equation, then it's just what is. It doesn't even have to be happiness or sadness because that has to be according to you. So what if happiness has nothing to do with you? It's just a construct to seemingly blind you from the unwavering happiness at hand. Not your idea of it, but the absence of it. Meaning, what are you without your thoughts about happiness? Happy.
Something here is saying no.
Again, it has nothing to do with you. Sorry, Mark. It's like you're cock blocking yourself over and over again.
Nothing to do with you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that still just sounds crazy when someone says that to me.
Of course, I know. It's so crazy, right? It's like, there was a moment, I think I wrote a whole bunch and I basically said that I just kept on getting in the way over and over again, right? You know, it was like some journals that I wrote after. How the hell did I not see that I was just always in the way of happiness, of peace, of whatever, right?
Mm.
Because there's this negotiator. I'm like, I don't think this is happiness. So no, kind of like what you said. But without the thoughts of this should be happiness or not, then it's just, it doesn't matter. Happiness or no happiness, it doesn't matter. Without the idea of it. Seemingly, characters do have an idea of what happiness should be. What does happiness mean to you? Spill it.
Well,
Go for it.
well, I guess we all have what I can't say for everybody, but it's like
No, just for you.
we all have
Let's
dreams of how we like life to be, or
yeah, please do. Just you, be according to you. Let's not talk about everybody because there's no everybody really. Just talk about you. Go for it.
Like I don't know, family, girlfriend, all that stuff. I don't know.
To some other people, that does not mean happiness to them. That could be hell.
Yeah. Right.
So that's according to you, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I post this video, probably there's going to be some girls who be like, "What's Mark's number? You single?" I'll put your Instagram and story there. maybe that'll give you happiness. I don't know. But seriously, well, not really seriously. It has nothing to do with what you think it is, right? What I thought would make me happy when I was 20, I laugh so hard now, right? Because it's like, what? Even what I thought happiness would be when I was 30 years old, right? In my 30s, has nothing to do with what is. So it's almost like a barrier of what you think happiness should be, because you're missing out on what is in front of you, which is the immediacy, the unknowable clarity without any ideas of what this should be.
Mm.
It's just what it is, not what you think it should be. That's the
but what it is not also not. I mean, it's not tangible, or
it's not tangible for who though?
But it just sounds so bland to me. I don't know. It sounds so
is,
gray.
but according to you, right? Not according to here. What might seem so bland for you, to me, is like, hooray, wow. It's just what it is. It's just really, you know what, and this is just a story. Again, it's just a thought away. To no thoughts about what this is. But when you're caught up in the idea of what it should be, of how it could be, or why it should be, or how it was, then you're caught up in a loop of time when there's no time, my friend. There's no time. If you see this without time, then it's instant. Wow.
Well,
because thoughts are based in time, yeah.
Yeah, well, there is, I mean, thoughts about the past, maybe, or thoughts.
Exactly. What I mean when we don't see this without time, then there's no you in time.
There isn't.
When you see this without time, so if there's no time, then there's no you.
I still feel like there could be me, even though there's no time. Why could there?
When you see this without time, then there's no thoughts then, because times only appear in thoughts. So the infinite sees the infinite possibilities and whatever, right?
But thoughts are appearing now, but that doesn't mean time. But
Yes, it is. How could thoughts appear, without time?
why not? I don't know.
Thoughts can only appear as time. Because if there's no time, then there's no thoughts. If there's no time, then there's no you. If there's no time, then there's no others. There's no second. There's no separation. Then it's an instant hooray. And then you're trying to think about it.
I can't help but try to figure out
It's okay. You won't get it. It's okay.
it.
You won't get it in time. Maybe next time.
Maybe.
No, just
Since I had many ideas about what.
that's all you have. That's all you have. That's all you have, right? What is so how value, like, how what's the value of these ideas for you? How valuable are they?
How about
What's that? What's the currency of these ideas?
I don't know. They're my ideas, but they seem to be my ideas. But other than that, I don't know what value they have.
What if I tell them that there's no value whatsoever to any of your ideas? And the values of your ideas is what seems to create this weight when there's no need to carry them around. It's just what is. So there's clarity without ideas. There's freedom without thoughts. Freedom with thoughts as well, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But not your idea, not your thoughts about freedom.
Yeah, it seems like the ideas always makes you want to change anything that's happening, or because then you compare.
But that's just your idea about it, right? Who says that though? So when this has nothing to do with you, whose ideas are these? What if they're just all empty ideas?
But I still feel like it has something to do with me here. I still feel that.
Yeah, of course. What's wrong with that idea? It's also an empty idea.
So the sense of self for me is just an idea.
It is, yeah, totally. Does the baby have a sense of self? Does the animal have a sense of
I mean,
self?
I don't know, but
There you go.
I would say probably not. Probably not. But even the idea of a sense of self is even, I mean,
It's just an idea. Yeah, it's just another idea. It's just another concept, really. There's sensations and feelings, and then the moment that you stamp that as my sense of self, then it just becomes another bloated idea of what seems to create this idea that you're not getting this. If you look at the root of the idea, it always, there's an insert of an I or a self there. What if it's just a sense? And then you call it a sense of self, which is just an idea, or it's just sensing, feeling, sensations.
Mm,
So cutting all of that will be completely bland. You might as well be comatose, right?
mm,
So if you want that, I don't know what you want, right? If that's happiness for you, please seek some help if that's what your idea is, right? Because that's not healthy.
what does that mean, comatose? That you're not feeling?
You're just in a hospital bed,
Oh, okay.
without any experiences and everything, right?
Okay.
So experiences, sensing, you know what I'm saying, can happen without a self. It's just an idea. Like, for example, laughter appears, um, joy, happiness, sadness, whatever seems to appear, right? It's just in the directness is what I'm talking about, right? Because in the directness, there's just this immediacy, this automatic happening of laughter, choices happening, sadness, caring, compassion, disgust, whatever seems to appear, right? You don't really have any control of it. But when you think that I have something to do with it, that seems to create this idea that there's something that I could change about it, something that I could somehow better. There's something wrong or right. But the sensing is beautiful.
Even the wrong sense, or even the sense that it's wrong.
Even the sense that it's wrong when it's empty as well. Yeah, that's also it. Even a sense of whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's just a sense that comes and goes, right? But when you get caught up in a sense of either kind of like, oh, I should be this, I should be that, then it's just playing, in time when there's no time. Then you miss out on the timelessness of what seems to be happening by being caught in time of what you think should be or not. When it has something to do with you, then there's a you that is always self-correcting, hence suffering. Hence, a sense that there is something missing. Although that's also it. It's always it, no matter what it is, right? So, but it has nothing to do with what you think is it, although that's also it. So meaning when there is a seeing through the emptiness of that sensing, meaning that when it's seen in the immediacy, not caught up in the idea of I should have done better, I could do this, I could not do this. And I know it's cerebral thinking that there's something that can be figured out, but it has nothing to do with thinking. Although it can appear as thinking, it has nothing to do with thinking. Because thinking is purely illusory. So if you're basing happiness based on an illusion, then it will just come up with more illusions. You're just running around in illusions, basically.
Right. It's like if a dog said, if only I got the stick, then I would be a happy dog. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be.
What's
I'm
that?
just gonna be, it's like if a dog said it would only be happy if it got the stick, then
Yeah.
then otherwise it would be miserable for the rest of its life or whatever. It's right.
But the dog always drops the stick. But you can't seem to. That's very offensive to dogs, what you said there.
I think I've watched too much of this because I've always
You have
to some
because
quote or something.
you're talking in quotes now, right? Like I don't really talk about the sense of self, right? But you've heard that so many times, and I'm trying to destroy it. You know what I'm saying? It's just another concept, right? I talk to like if you look at my newsletter I sent in anonymous one-on-one, right? So this person was stuck with the idea of there's no me, when it's exposed to him that that's just another idea. That's why I tend to, not as I try, saying, but sometimes there's going to be repetitious, because language is just a construct. But I admit that the language is just another construct, right? So there's an admission here that nothing that I say is truth, because there's no truth. That's the problem, is when you think that the sense of self is truth, then you believe it. Or when people think that there's contraction, then they believe it. I've talked to so many people in one-on-ones that when I ask them if there's such a contraction, they're like, no. If there's a me, no. It's all just ideas.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. It's almost like you have to purge while there's no one. It's like purging your ideas or what you heard from other speakers or other people. Although there's nothing wrong or right about those speakers, it just becomes so monotonous and it becomes repetitious that becomes a belief system, becomes an ideology, right?
Yeah.
Stop looking for that stick, drop it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk soon again, Mark. You know, I think it's time for a lobotomy once again. Just message me because I don't know what happened every time. There's an emptying out, and all of a sudden you fill it up with a whole bunch of ideas again, right? Although you did not choose to do that too, so beautiful. Thank you. Hi, Laura. There was an intro an hour and a half ago. So sorry, but yeah, there's a time change here, and actually, some people signed an hour before. There are like about 15 people that signed an hour before, but they got completely confused with the time, and I had a feeling that this is going to be confusing. That's why I have the I should have mentioned in the newsletter. So sorry about that. Hi, Emerson. I'm 33 years old, male, and never were in a relationship due to anxiety issues. Am I a loser? It's okay, and it's okay. You can be hard on me until I die. No, that's just what is seemingly appearing as it is. And the ideas of what you should be, to be whatever, it's just an idea. It's just a thought. It's just a construct. When I talk to someone, especially in a one-on-one or right here, right, I don't see any labels whatsoever now, right? There's going to be ideas of what is or whatever, right? But in this directness, that is perfection already. Seemingly anxiety, I can relate to you because I had severe anxiety, that I would have panic attacks, and I would hide it so well. But if you would like to talk to me, you know what, we can dive into it. Just message me. And we can have a discussion about it. Yeah. Emerson, since you're a fan of art, here's a passage from a great movie called The Holy Mountain. I love The Holy Mountain. It's one of my favorite films. It's a weird film though. It's like an acid. It's like from the 70s, but I love that film. So according to Holy Mountain, give up your pleasure, your pain, your friends, your lovers, your life, your past. What you desire, you will know nothingness. It is the only reality. Don't be afraid. Arended your legs, your sex, your hair, your brain, your all. You no longer want to possess possession in the ultimate pain. The earth covers your body. She came over to you with love because she's your love. Now you are an open heart, open to receive your true essence, your ultimate perfection, your new body, which is the universe, the work of God. Look at the flower, look at the flower. For the first time, look at the flowers. That's lovely, but you know what? I think it would be better just to say, just look. Without you. Then it's just flowers, then it's just raindrops, then it's just whatever. Even that's labeling something, right? It's you're looking at nothingness with the fullness of the expression of nothingness. The flowers are nothing, the mountains are nothing, but it's full. The dewdrops on the grass blades, the sand on your feet, it's emptiness, yet it's full. The blossoming flowers, yeah. It's not about getting rid of anything, because who's to get rid of it when it's never been there in the first place? But thank you. I love that movie. I love that movie. It's one of those it's Jodorowsky. It's wild though. It's really, really weird. Yep, yeah, it's Jodorowsky. Alejandro Jodorowsky. My favorite film from him though is a documentary about him. It's about him making the film Dune. So he made this plan, the greatest plan ever, to make a movie that will enlighten everyone. That's why I got interested in Jodorowsky, because he had this audacity to come up with a film that was supposed to enlighten everyone. It was supposed to be Dune. And so he hired like Mick Jagger, he was supposed to have Pink Floyd as the soundtrack, and just the whole cast and everything. And he drew this book, this book of, it's supposed to be a 4-hour film and everything. He trained his son to be I don't know, he hired Sting to be a part. It was just madness. It was just all this plan, but although the producers in Hollywood declined it. What I liked about is it that no matter how much he got shut down, the artistry still came up, and yeah. And that's, for me, is like seeking. The whole Jodorowsky making the Dune film is like seeking. But thank you for reminding me of that film.
Hello.
Yes, Mark.
I feel like every time I hear the word seeking, I feel like it's wrong, or it's like, I don't know. It's like
Why
I
don't we
don't.
call it adventuring? Would that make you
Yeah.
feel better?
I mean,
Exploring.
it's like you're looking for something else.
Yeah, it's like
But
exploring.
that doesn't mean that you can't like make a movie, or that you can't try to be a professional football or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is what it is, right? So when you take away the me, the I behind the seeking, it's just seeking. It's not really that bad. There's nothing wrong. I still seek for the perfect cinnamon roll, right? I'm like, oh, you know what? I go to Montreal. I'm like looking for. I'm like, maybe their cinnamon roll here is better, that kind of thing. But there's no more obsession about it, right? It's just what arises. There's no more neurosis about it.
right.
Yeah. But seeking for something imaginary is what seemingly, because the imaginary happiness that you're seeking for in the next is just pure imagination. It almost like obscures the happiness that's always at hand when there's no next.
Yeah, because it imagines a future and a past, and
Yeah. Kind of like what I said in the last, in my meeting that 2 weeks ago, I think, about the addiction of it, right? There's the seeming addiction for seeking, a seeming addiction of what should be, and it fuels this desire for something else, but what it's really looking for is just basically connection, non-separation.
but that's the thing. Then I hear people say that there's already no separation, but then why? But it feels separate, or
Because
how
the very thinking that there is no separation is just another addiction to the idea of what is non-separate. Does not make any sense. It creates this seeming separation of something that's never been separated. So the very repetition that there's something wrong, or listening to other characters, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even matter listening to me, to be honest, right? Because it will just seemingly create that there's this notion that there's something missing. So sincerely, all I can say that there's nothing missing over and over again. Sincerely, all I can say that it's already the case no matter what. So there's no gatekeeping here. There's no authoritarianism here. So no matter what seems to appear is already it. Although there's no wake up. You know what I'm saying? It's already it. It's what it is already. And no matter how much you negotiate with it, right? The more you fight it, the more you negotiate that this is already happiness at hand. It's already in front of you. The simplicity of, nicking your neck with your shaving is it. Was it pretty bad?
No, I need to fix it afterwards.
Oh yeah, you're half shaven there.
It's charging right now, so I can't.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
why you're not getting this. You're half here. You know what I'm saying? It's next time make sure that you shave fully. There's no really cause and effect, right? So you're trying to chase in a cause and effect scenario. So
Yeah.
chasing a cause and effect scenario just perpetually creates this looping over and over again, right? You're chasing something that already is the case. And no matter how much I say that it's already the case over and over again, like infinitely, the chasing is like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I'm like, it's already the case. And you're like, what do you mean? And I'll say it's already the case. So even the questioning is already the case. Shaving half of your face is already the case. So you're really looking to, you know what? And this is just being honest, right?
I'm looking for a definite answer, where I can say, okay, now this is it.
Yeah.
Now I can leave. But it's
So now that you have, seemingly put a lot of knowledge again in your brain of what this should be, then there's a lot more kind of like how do you say it? Knowledge about it again, right? This is nothing to do with knowing. This is nothing to do with what I say or other people say. It's the seeing through the immediacy, the transparency of words as made up. So if every single word is made up, your questions about the sense of self, contraction, or me, or whatever, it does not really matter. Because none of those exist. They don't exist. So it's like you're looking for a phantom, and the phantom's looking for the phantom. It's like you're appearing in a dream and hoping to solve the dream within the dream. which will be another dream. Kind of like what they say, right? You know, if you want, and again, you know what, if the liberation is passing through the needle without any concepts, without any ideas, without anything that holds you back. The problem with these meetings is that you hold on to concepts, hold on to ideas, thinking that.
Yeah.
So instead of passing through the needle without anything, you have a bundle of knots now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Although it is what it is.
Mm. Yeah, it's like I think I've probably
You've been listening too much. You have taken you have
thinking
overloaded
half
again
every fucking
because
second. Yeah.
because when the last time we had a one-on-one, it was all emptied out, and you started picking it up again. You know, and that's okay. That's okay, right? Because it's almost like the thing about the ordinariness of this is sometimes you question it, you doubt it, right? Because is it really this simple? Is it really just that clear? Is it really just that empty? It is. Is it just so ordinary? But yet, you know, the apparent character creates these ideas of how it should be. Especially when you hear a whole bunch of people speak about this in a very you know, similar way. It has nothing to do with the style of speaking. Has nothing to do with the way that this is communicated.
Yeah. All right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Emerson.
Thank you. But love the communication of it at the same time, right? But it's nothing to do with it. Nothing is less, someone commented. Could you please talk a bit about thought? Thank you. There's nothing really to talk about thought because it just creates more thoughts about something that can't be thought about. Meaning that there are really no thought that really exists. It's just an appearance that comes and goes, seemingly trying to create this reality when there's no such thing as reality outside of a thought. So instead of directly seeing this as it is, the seeming thoughts come to, you know, express what isn't, makes it as is not. There's nothing wrong or right about a thought because wrong or right is just a thought. Thoughts or no thoughts are just thoughts again, right? So again, it's one of those loops. The moment that there is a caught up in the thoughts of thoughts, they just produces more thoughts when there are really no thoughts, although that will seemingly appear as just another thought. So rather than looping in a cyclical pattern of thoughts appearing as whatever, trying to figure out thoughts will just result in thoughts, meaning that thoughts are all illusory, is seemingly, although there's no one, stepping back and seeing it for what it is. So what it is it's just empty. It doesn't matter. It's just what is appearing as that as well, right? So it's not about getting rid of thoughts or trying to let go of them. Because again, that's just another thought perpetuating more thoughts. But when it's seen that thoughts are just simply irrelevant because they're non-existent, it's just seeing them come and go and with no holding at all, right? It just comes and goes. Like a water off a duck's back. It just comes and goes. That's too much thought about thoughts. Thoughts seem to be reflective of each other with no real basis, although this is also a thought. Yes. Getting kind of caught up in thoughts is a tricky one, right? Kind of like what Mark was saying, looking for happiness. You know what? He's thought about happiness. It's just another thought. Do thoughts influence what's happening? For example, because the wrong thoughts were there at a certain moment, I lost something important. Things are going to happen no matter what, right? But things that are happening, no matter what you think of it, is just a happening, which is also unhappening. So it doesn't really have any relevance. The thoughts will just create suffering of something that is always going to happen anyway, regardless of thoughts or no thoughts about it. The moment that there's an insertion of I did this, or I should have done this, or without me this should have been should not be happening, it's just another thought that perpetuates that there's something that I could do about it when there's no you to do it. It's just a thought. But I understand what you're saying. I used to go there all the time. I used to cry in bed thinking about the thoughts that I made that could have made a difference, when in reality, none of it could have made any difference, because it's just what is happening as it is. Thank you for what you do, Emerson. Oh, thank you so much. It's just what is, yeah. So remember, next week, make sure to check your time, because I know it's not in all the countries. There's an Eastern Daylight Savings Time here in Canada, which is an hour before, which will change again. You see the illusion of time? It's so which will last for, I don't know, like 6 months. I can't remember. Which means that thoughts often reflect the unresolved trauma held in the body trying to find a resolution. You can also say that, yeah. Yeah, you can also say that. It's something that comes up over and over and over again, yeah. In the relative, in the story, yeah, you know what? Seeking assistance for that is also what is. Kind of like what I said in the intro, although non-duality really has nothing to offer the individual, in the story, the individual can also find and seek to help someone resolve stuff like trauma and everything, right? There's no opposition to that whatsoever. It's just what is. And to add to that, there's so many great characters out there that helps with this too, right? There's this character, John, that's helping me with some of the seemingly characters that have left some cults that have serious suffering because of traumatic happenings during their time with a belief system that the liberation depended on another. So yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Because I
Oh,
feel like
Mark.
I keep coming to these meetings for answers, for an answer or for
Yeah.
an answer to all my questions about.
But the answers to your question is that the questions have nothing to do with what you want, basically. Does that make any sense? It's like, it's your idea of what you need, basically, or your thought about what will solve this seeming thought that there's no happiness.
Mm.
You see what I'm getting at here? You're looking for answers when there's really, when what is being expressed does not need an answer. Because the answer will just seemingly create this idea that there is an individual that needs to be responded to help with their problems. It's right here. Or you can just say that what you think of that needs an answer does not require an answer. Because what you think of is irrelevant to the emptiness or happiness that is being expressed here. The aliveness is not your idea of what it should be.
Mm.
It's in spite of you. Or what you think you know from others. Because there's an idea now of, like if I only lose my sense of self, which is what you keep on, then I will have happiness, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm saying, losing a sense of, self and everything, right? Is it's just another construct, right? Because there's no self to be, it's just sensing.
Mm.
There's already no self, right? But even if there's an idea of a self, so what? It comes and goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So a sense of an illusion. So losing your sense of an illusion does not make sense, isn't it?
No.
No.
This doesn't make sense at all. I
Was that?
don't.
Yeah. So I don't know who came up with that. You know what I'm saying? It becomes another dogma, right? Because coming to this meeting, this characters meeting, in particular, is to say that there's really no problem. Even if you think that there's a problem. But you keep on going to other meetings that makes you think that there's a problem. It's just gatekeeping. It becomes another, another dogmatic thing. It becomes so old-fashioned.
Right.
Yeah. It's like saying, it's like, how do I find my higher self? That's the same thing. It's just put in a different wording, right?
Mm.
So I believe that. The belief seems to create this obstacle, right? When there's already no self. So sensing happens. Who cares? But it creates a next when there's no next. It becomes another carrot. It's just a thought.
Mm.
That's what I mean. This is when the compassion comes in, right? I just want to be direct with you, right? When you buy bullshit, right? It just creates suffering.
But how to know what's bullshit and what's not bullshit?
Everything is bullshit when you believe it. It's just a thought. It's just an idea. It's a concept, right? The discernment is when there's a belief system that happens, you get to another trap. That there's a you that needs to have a no sense of self, although there's no you already. It just creates this division that there's someone that's no one and there's someone that has a sense of self. It's just another division. Kick all of the pedestals, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Be a
Mm.
rebel, right? It's like, you know what, enough.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. Like it is.
Yeah, I could tell,
Okay.
man. I could tell. I could tell. All I can really offer is sincerity here. You know what I'm saying? That, you know what? I fell in the same trap before. I fell in the same trap over and over again that you know, that there is a special there. Although you will say that there's no one special here. That's special still.
Mm.
When you see this without thoughts, there's nothing special or no special. Everything is already. Everything is already empty.
But how do you see without thoughts? What do you mean?
It's so easy. It's so easy. It's so direct. It's so simple. Have some spots this week. Message me. You know what I'm saying? And we'll spend an hour. It's it's almost like you go for a dental cleaning and now it's full of cavities, right? It's just scraping away all of those tartar plaques. It's okay. It's all imaginary plaques and tartars anyway, right? Because
Right.
it's so easy to get addicted to the candies of words, right? The sweetness of words of
Mm.
you know, when I don't have a sense of self anymore, then I'll be a robotic person. You know, with no more whatever, with no more suffering, which is quite attractive, to be honest, right? But what if that is just another construct? It's just love, man. It's just all love. Not your idea of it, but love as it is.
Mm.
Unconditionally, right? Because that's another concept. I'm talking more floral stuff here. But it simply appears as it is, no matter what it is, without your idea of it. It's kind of like when you're not thinking, it's free already. When you're thinking, it's not free. But free or not free is just thoughts. So it is what it is, no matter what it is, free or not free.
All right.
Okay. Message me on Insta.
Okay.
We'll deal with this. Apparently, of course. Well, messages here. There is no me that can drop thoughts, but can action be done for them to be dropped? There's no point in dropping something that it isn't, right? Because the very thought of dropping a thought just creates a perpetual thought about there's something wrong with thoughts. So when it's seen that thoughts are completely irrelevant, although that's just another thought, meaning that they're just coming and going, empty, and it has nothing to do with you, then what's the point of dropping them or not? Admittedly, saying when there is just a complete disregard for thought here, there's so much freedom that appears because it's not caught up in this small space anymore. Then there's this wideness that seems to appear that even if thoughts come in because of this wideness, it just doesn't matter, right? It just becomes like a falling leaf. It becomes like a snow dropping. It becomes just the cloud passing by. It's also what is. So trying to create a separate that it isn't just creates this suffering that I have so much thoughts and everything. This is a character that used to get so like I used to meditate 2, 3, 4 hours a day. There's nothing wrong or right about meditating and everything. Just because I always thought that I had to drop the thoughts. At one point, I was this neurotic person that seems to kind of like shake my head over and over again because if I had a thought, because becoming thought-free is also just another thought. It's not about an idea of what it should be when the thought simply is already what is as well, meaning that everything is empty, including thoughts. How can thoughts detach from bodily reactions as thoughts seem to serve the survival of the body? It's funny, right? Because I thought about that too. But there was a moment, again, this is just a story. Please don't take this, right? There was a story that there was this character after seeming dropping away without any thoughts that was just walking, eating, smiling, whatever seems to appear. And in the morning when I walk, really, there's just no thoughts that seem to appear. It's just walking. My dog licks my face. And then I get up, I walk, maybe an hour or two, with just this isness, what seems to appear, right? So the body happens without any thoughts. It does not need to survive. If you have ever blacked out of drinking, the body the body dances, you know what I'm saying? Does ridiculous things without a thought. So it's just a thought that it's a survival of the body. It's I have stories of people that have driven me thinking that they were sober, but in the morning find out that they're completely blacked out. Or there's the phenomena of seeming characters that they hear this communication and all of a sudden there are no thoughts. Or sometimes you're doing your daily work and everything and there's no thoughts whatsoever. And there's also a study that the thoughts is delayed to what's appearing, meaning it's completely illusory. And let's even take it further. Without the thoughts, is there even a body? Without the thoughts, is there even a time and space? Without a thought, is there even a you and me? Without a thought, is there even this meeting? So I think I'll end it with that. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all. And sorry about the time thing. And sorry about the camera. Bye-bye. That's my no transmission.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.